What if you could turn every disagreement into an opportunity to strengthen relationships, build trust, and lead with confidence? Conflict. We all face it, but few master it. Today, I'm giving you the tools to make conflict your greatest leadership asset. Why do conflicts seem so hard to resolve? It's because many of us lack solid foundation to build on. Think of it this way. You wouldn't build a house on shaky ground, right? The same principle applies to resolving disagreements. Without understanding the roots of conflict, we're left reacting emotionally instead of responding strategically. In this segment, we'll lay down the groundwork for resolving conflict, a foundation built on understanding, emotional intelligence, and a proactive mindset. This foundation isn't just about resolving conflicts. It's about transforming the way you handle disagreements, create stronger relationships, and driving personal growth. Before we dive into strategies, let's talk about what makes conflict resolution effective. At its core, conflict resolution is about three things: understanding the psychology of conflict, developing emotional intelligence, and adopting a proactive mindset. Each of these pillars contributes to a stable, effective approach to resolving disagreements. Let's break them down one by one and explore why they're essential. Have you ever found yourself in a heated argument only to look back and realize it wasn't even about the issue you were arguing about? That's because most conflicts stem from deeper, hidden causes, unmet needs, misaligned goals, and emotional triggers. When we address only the surface issues, we're essentially trimming the leaves of a weed rather than pulling it out by the roots. To resolve conflict effectively, we must first understand the psychology behind it. At its heart, conflict is about unmet needs. The need for respect, recognition, security, or belonging. When these needs go unmet, people respond emotionally, often without realizing what's driving their behavior. For example, a disagreement over deadlines at work might not be about the deadlines at all. It could stem from one person feeling undervalued or another fearing failure. Recognizing these deeper needs can completely change the way we approach conflict. Another layer to consider is perception. Every conflict is filtered through our personal biases, experiences, and assumptions. This is why two people can experience the same situation so differently. For instance, let's say someone interrupts you during a meeting. You might perceive it as disrespectful, but they might see it as enthusiasm to contribute. Understanding these differences in perception allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Take a moment to reflect on a recent disagreement. What emotions came up for you? Recognizing these patterns in your own experiences is the first step to understanding the psychological roots of conflict. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while also being able to empathize with and the influence. Think of it as your internal GPS for navigating conflict. Without emotional intelligence, we're more likely to let emotions dictate our responses, leading to escalation rather than resolution. The first step in developing emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Ask yourself, what triggers my emotional reactions? How do I typically respond to conflict? For example, if you notice that you become defensive when receiving criticism, you've identified a pattern that you can work on. Becoming aware of your triggers and tendencies is like turning on lights in a dark room. It allows you to see clearly and make deliberate choices. Empathy is the bridge to understanding. When you can see the world through other person's eyes, it becomes easier to find common ground. A simple but powerful way to practice empathy is to actively listen. Reflect back what other persons are saying and validate their feelings. For example, you might say, "It sounds like you're frustrated because you feel left out of the decision-making process. Is that right?" This not only shows that you're listening, but also creates a space for deeper dialogue. Let's talk about regulation. Managing your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means responding in a way that's constructive rather than reactive. One tool you can use is the pause and breathe technique. When you feel yourself getting emotionally charged, take a deep breath and count to 5 before responding. This simple pause can prevent escalation and give you time to think clearly. Now let's discuss mindset. A proactive mindset means you're not just reacting to conflict as it arises, you're preparing for it, viewing it as an opportunity rather than a threat. This shift in perspective can transform the way you handle disagreements. Before entering a conversation where conflict is likely, take time to prepare. Reflect on a question like, what is the outcome I hope to achieve? What are my non-negotiables? By clarifying your goals and values, you set the stage for a more productive dialogue. Reframing is another powerful tool. Instead of viewing conflict as a confrontation, see it as an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with the other person. For example, instead of thinking this argument is going to make things worse, reframe it and think of it as this conversation is a chance to clear up some misunderstandings and build trust. This mindset shift can completely change the tone of your interactions. Let's talk about building your conflict resolution toolbox. Practice role-playing tough conversations with a friend or a mentor. Anticipate the challenges and rehearse your responses. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel when the real conversation happens. We've covered 3 foundational pillars: understanding the psychology of conflict, developing emotional intelligence, and adopting a proactive mindset. These principles aren't just theoretical, they're practical tools you can start using today to transform how you handle disagreements. But it's time to dive deeper into uncovering the root causes of conflict. In the next segment here, we're going to explore how to move beyond surface level disagreements and identify what's really driving the tension.